Hi guys, welcome to our Feedonomics and Snapchat webinar. Today we'll be discussing how to reach over 200 million users with Snapchat advertising. I'm really excited to be joined today by Leah, a true expert in Snapchat advertising. To tell you guys a little bit about our backgrounds. Leah is a product marketing manager at Snapchat, focusing specifically on performance marketing products and advertising solutions. She has been at Snap for over 3 years, working cross-functionally to ensure that advertising products are effectively developed and brought to market, and has been leading the charge in rolling out the latest Snapchat performance product, which we'll be talking about a good amount today, Dynamic Ads. Your host today is myself, Brian Roizen, co-founder and chief architect of Feedonomics. And from my picture here, you'll see an awesome and of course, way better looking Bitmoji of myself that I made last week actually using the Snapchat app. A little bit about Feedonomics. My brother and I, about 5 years ago, started Feedonomics with 2 other co-founders to help online retailers, brands, and agencies optimize their product data for hundreds of different marketing channels. Our team has grown now from 4 co-founders over the last 5 years to over 165 people worldwide, providing best-in-class product feed optimization and 24/7 support to over 30% of the top 1,000 internet retailers. In terms of logistics for this webinar, please feel free to ask any questions as you think of them in the questions box, and we'll be answering all of these questions at the end, and for any we can't get to, we'll personally follow up with you over email afterwards. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Leah to give you guys a deep dive into Snapchat ads.
Thanks for the intro, Brian. Hi, everyone. My name is Leah Rudman, and I'm a product marketing manager at Snapchat, leading the Dynamic Ads product. Today, I'm going to take you through some exciting material, providing an introduction to Snapchat, diving into Dynamic Ads and why they can be so impactful on the platform, and discussing step-by-step instructions to launch your Dynamic Ads campaign. To kick it off, I just wanted to provide the framework for Snapchat and introduce you to our platform. At its core, Snapchat is a camera for real friends to communicate with the people that matter most to them. From the very beginning of our company's history, we knew that people experience difficulty expressing themselves through text. With the camera and talking through pictures, all of that disappears with visual communication. People didn't want to record, archive, or memorialize every conversation. They wanted a faster way to express themselves. With that, we have Snapchat, which is the fastest way to express yourself and communicate. Why send a text when a snap is worth 1,000 words? In usual circumstances, people are Snapchatting throughout their day, whether it's on their way to work or at the gym or going home with their families. In more recent times, we see people turn to Snapchat to keep close and stay up to date with their friends. And on Snapchat, there are no vanity metrics, no likes or follows. So your content isn't being judged when you share it. That is why our community feels safe and comfortable being who they are and where they are by expressing themselves through snaps. All of this engagement makes Snapchat the world's biggest camera. More snaps are taken on our camera than the total number of pictures taken on all other smartphone and digital cameras every day. Snapchat is a platform for real friends. What do I mean by that? You have to actually know the other person to be friends. Friendship on Snapchat is reciprocal. It's not one-way sharing, rather a two-way conversation. And that is why 229 million people use Snapchat every day around the world to talk with their closest friends. And our community is growing. We saw our daily active user growth accelerated by 20% year over year, and our users are spending 30+ minutes on Snapchat per day on average. Now that you understand our community, let's talk about all the ways that you can reach them on Snapchat today through different ad formats. No matter what your advertising objective is, we have solutions that will help you reach your business goals from awareness to driving conversion. Think of these 3 objectives from left to right as broadest reach on the left to those customers that are closest to purchasing or taking the desired action you want on the right. The awareness objective is useful when you want to make a broad number of customers aware of your product or brand. With this, you would cast a wide net with targeting to increase reach and get the word out about your product category. The consideration objective is useful when you want to reach customers that are considering your product category, but potentially aren't aware or yet engaged with your brand. App installs, driving traffic to your website or app, or lead generation are all examples of driving consideration. Lastly, the conversion objective connects with customers that are closest to making a purchase, if your intention is to drive sales. This is where we are going to be focusing our time to really dive into the performance marketing space on Snapchat. I also wanted to quickly cover off on the types of ad units available on Snapchat that adhere to every objective. On the left, we have our awareness objective with a variety of formats that fall under this. To reach your users at broader scale, we have ads that incorporate either a single image, a multi-image, or a video. To build awareness, you can promote messaging in between a Snapchat or story, or find users within the Discover section. There, users are naturally consuming more storytelling content. Also, to reach your users in a more premium environment, we have commercials. Commercials are non-skippable 6-second ads that are full screen and audio enabled. This unit appears within Snapchat Show content. To drive product consideration, our story ad unit can help highlight multiple products or messages that a user can really use to click through and explore. Last but not least, we have dynamic ads for driving purchase or other lower funnel conversions. By importing your product catalog and appending the Snap Pixel, which I'll touch on more later, you can run dynamic ads. Dynamic ads, which are created automatically from your catalog and serve to users based on relevant interests or actions taken. This reduces the workload from a creative standpoint and can be effective at really driving conversion. I'm going to take you through the steps to getting this ad up and running a little bit later as well. Now that we have a good idea of what Snapchat is and all the ways in which you can advertise, I really wanted to hone in on performance marketing and outline some reasons why the Snapchat audience is so important for you as a performance marketer, specifically when using dynamic ads. When it comes to performance marketing, everything that we do stems around a very simple paradigm of reaching the right person with the right context at the right time. This isn't necessarily a revolutionary concept, but as we start to unpack person, context, and time, we'll show you how we are uniquely advantaged in the space. So let's start with reaching the right person. As a business, your goal is to build loyalty with your existing customers, as well as find brand new ones that have a strong lifetime value. As an advertiser, it's also important to make sure that your spend is diversified so that you can reach those customers and that there is a strong payoff when you do. With dynamic ads, you want to reach a customer who is in the market to buy a specific product or who is interested in a specific brand. Dynamic ads also enable new ways for us to understand context about potential shoppers based on the actions that they're taking on your website, from viewing certain pages, adding items to cart, or even purchasing. These behaviors help provide another layer about what their interests are and what their brand preferences might be. And then finally, we have at the right time. When it comes to timing, it's all about delivering a message when the person is prone to take action. That's why timing is everything in direct response. When you're able to reach someone closely after they've shown signs of interest with a brand, whether it's browsing on your website or adding an item to your cart, you can help move them along the customer journey faster. First, let's spend some time talking about an incredibly influential demographic, one that Snap happens to have a very strong penetration in, and that's millennials. Millennials' disposable income is going to grow to over $7 trillion in the next 10 years, primarily because they're entering into key life stages like buying a house, starting a family, investing in the stock market, and so on. They're also going to be the single biggest driver for the equity market over the next decade. So it's incredibly important for businesses to be aligning themselves to win over this customer base if they haven't already. In addition to millennials, Gen Z has become a growing focus for brands. Growing up in a mobile-first world, they demand convenience, authenticity, and creativity in the products and services they buy. And they're just starting to develop these lifelong habits and brand affinities now. Gen Z has 232 billion in direct buying power and 1.2 trillion in indirect purchasing power. Building a relationship with this customer base now is key, considering the potential of lifetime value they can bring to your business. Here, you can see just how strong a penetration we have with the millennial and Gen Z cohort in the US alone. We can reach 75% of the total 13 to 34-year-old population. So whether you're focused on year-round promotion or more tentpole moments like a product launch, we offer strong reach from this influential audience. Just as critical as it is to achieve reach, it's also about incrementality. On any given week, Snapchatters can exclusively be found on our platform as opposed to competitors. For example, 30% of Snapchatters 16 plus in the US aren't on Instagram on a weekly basis, and 75% aren't on Twitter. For any marketer doing cross-platform promotion, Snapchat offers a way to get in front of potential customers with a timely message that you wouldn't necessarily be able to reach elsewhere. Lastly, in order to drive that recency, it's crucial to try and maximize the number of opportunities on any given day that you can deliver a message. We're inherently advantaged in this way because of how much mindshare we grasp on a daily basis. Snapchatters open our app 30 times per day on average and spend over 30 minutes from when they wake up to when they commute, when they're shopping, they're going to sleep, they're engaging with friends. These all represent opportunities to deliver a message. That brings us into dynamic ads. Over the years, Snap has invested heavily in solutions for performance marketers to drive their business forward. Dynamic ads is our latest offering that will increase the depth of our capabilities, particularly for e-commerce brands. A number of sophisticated features have come together to create this, from tracking campaigns with the Snap Pixel, to the ability to optimize campaigns towards purchases, to syncing of your product catalog. Dynamic ads bring personalization to the platform in an automated way, opening new ways to scale and drive impact very easily. With dynamic ads, you can easily leverage pre-existing templates that are designed to showcase products visually, making your ads look beautiful and native to the platform. This example here is using a single creative asset to build a variety of creatives without the need for any design skills. Because our audience is predisposed to shop on mobile, we wanted to ensure we were designing the most optimal shopping experience on mobile as well. Our dynamic ads are full screen, which maximize the real estate of the images that are displayed and invite potential shoppers to explore more by directly swiping up to drive to your website. Through a combination of importing your product catalog and employing the Snap Pixel on your website, we can power a dynamic ads campaign. There are a few ways that you can onboard your catalog. One of the most important ways being through our URL syncing tool. You can simply grab your Feedonomics URL and copy it into our UI for quick and easy syncing. The Snap Pixel will then be used to target, optimize, and measure the results of your dynamic ads campaign. Here, I wanted to show a very simple breakdown of a typical customer journey and how that customer might be eligible for a dynamic ad. First, a Snapchatter would visit your website. With the Snap Pixel installed, you can capture what types of interactions they're having. They might be viewing specific product pages or adding items to cart, all signals that they may be interested in your brand and product. Once they leave your site and open Snapchat, they'll become eligible to receive an ad, given the right targeting is in place. Our system is able to map the items that they viewed on your website and map it to the same items that are in your catalog. This is done by passing an item ID on your website pages and mapping it to the same item ID that is displayed in your catalog. The system will then pull all relevant information from that item ID in your catalog, such as image, price, title, etc., and render an ad with that product or other similar products as well. Not only will this cut out the time spent on manually creating ads, our machine learning can predict which ad will be most relevant to the Snapchatter based on their past action, faster than any human can. In the end, this means more ROI for your campaigns on Snap. There are two targeting options available for dynamic ads, and we recommend that you run them concurrently. With prospecting, your dynamic ads will reach Snapchatters who may or may not have visited your website. This is a great way to start generating demand at the top of the funnel. Alternatively, you can reach people who have already visited your website or who have added an item to cart but haven't purchased. When running the two in conjunction, you're able to find net new users to develop more robust retargeting pools and then use our retargeting capabilities to ultimately drive that purchase. Through the Snap Pixel, you can track a number of events which are representative of the customer journey online. From page views to add to carts to completing a checkout, you can also track purchase value so that you can not only see the number of total purchases that were driven from your campaign, but sales value from those transactions. This will let you calculate one of the most essential KPIs, return on ad spend. We recommend that item ID is passed within the following events: page view or view content, add to cart, or purchase. This will really give us an indication on what types of products users are landing on site and allow us to match it with those products in your catalog. So next, we wanted to take you through launching dynamic ads, highlighting 8 easy steps to get up and running in our Ads Manager tool. First, we ask that you configure the Snapchat Pixel so that we can properly track actions taken directly on your site, build retargeting audiences, and optimize towards events that matter most to you, such as purchases. The first step is to navigate to the Pixel tab and generate your Pixel code. The Pixel code is a simple piece of JavaScript that you place on your website. Within the Pixel, we also ask that you configure some meaningful events, such as page view, view content, add to cart, and purchase, and pass back the item ID parameter within these events. As mentioned before, this is an extremely important step so that we can identify the products that users are viewing and use that information to build that ad from your catalog. Next, you would upload your product catalog by syncing your Feedonomics data feed directly in Ads Manager. This can be found within our catalog hub. Paste your Feedonomics URL into the data feed URL bar, enter the username and password if required, and select the timing for refresh. At this time, you can refresh either daily or hourly. Since we are refreshing your catalog either daily or hourly, we're ensuring that the product data presented in your ads are remaining up to date and are properly reflecting any changes in product details or inventory availabilities. Once your catalog is created, you'll attach a pixel to the catalog so we can tie the pixel information back to the catalog to create relevant ads in real time. After your Feedonomics catalog is synced, you have the ability to create something called a product set. A product set is essentially just a subset of items within your catalog that are eligible for delivery within a campaign. Here, you can apply filters such as title, brand, condition, age, gender, product type, and so much more to categorize your products within your catalog. If you have a massive catalog with a wide variety of products across vastly different categories, we highly recommend creating product sets to tailor delivery and drive additional relevance among the users within your target audience. For example, if you are a shoe brand with a website and a user lands on your site on a women's running shoe, with the creation of that women's running shoe product set, that user will be eligible to receive an ad with the specific shoe that they landed on or other women's running shoes within that product set as well. We know that the user is interested in women's running shoes, so we are expanding on the products that can be served to that user while also maintaining relevance. Here, I recommend that you create all of your product sets up front so that when you come to the campaign creation section, you can just select them from a dropdown. Now we have step 4. Once all of the pixels are in place and the pixel and catalog are created and attached, you can use our pixel diagnostic tool to confirm that everything is configured properly. With this tool, what we're telling you is that if the item IDs that are being passed back in the pixel match the IDs for products in your catalog. Here, you can check on match rates, and if match rates are low or not matching at all, we'll give you ways to troubleshoot. For example, it might be that your pixel is not physically linked to the catalog, the pixel is not passing back item ID information, or the item ID that is passed back via the pixel does not match the item ID that is presented in the catalog. We'll help you through all troubleshooting tactics to ensure that everything is up and running properly. However, as you can see, if your match rate is great, you are free to move on to the next step and physically create your dynamic ads campaign. So as we approach kind of the next step in creating your dynamic ads campaign, this is where you would go into Ads Manager, click into Create Campaign, and select the catalog sales objective. You'll see a dynamic ads toggle and the ability to select your Feedonomics catalog. If you have more than one catalog uploaded, you'll be able to select from them in a dropdown. Assets from this catalog that you select will be pulled in to create your dynamic ads. Then you'll define your product set. As I mentioned, you've already pre-created your product sets after initially syncing your catalog. So all you have to do here is select that product set from a dropdown. However, if you forgot to create your product set, no problem. You can create a new product set directly in this flow or edit a pre-created one just so that you can add additional filters. This product set will further define which products are eligible in your catalog for this specific audience. Here, you can create multiple ad sets with different product sets in a single campaign in order to reach users with different interests and intent. In step 7, you'll select your product audience that you're going to target. There are two options, prospecting and retargeting. Let's dig into prospecting a little bit more. The prospecting audience allows you to reach a broader audience of relevant users, even if they have not visited your website. This tactic allows you to hit a broader swath of users and rely on some of our optimization tactics to find users that are interested in your brand and/or specific products. This can be used to drive traffic to site and build out more robust retargeting tools. You will see these users, will serve these users products from your product set as long as they have not purchased anything from the product set in the past 14 days. Next, we have the retargeting audience. The retargeting tactic allows you to target users who have taken action on your site within your selected retargeting windows. Some examples here would be target users who have viewed a product or added that product to cart but have not purchased in the past 14 days, or target users who have added a product to cart but have not purchased in the past 14 days. The look back windows that you can set here is between 1 and 30 days. Users that fall within these retargeting audiences will be eligible to receive any product within that product set that you've created, but have not purchased any product from that product set within the window. This is where building out relevant product sets may be of interest to you. As you think back to that shoe example, creating product sets may create more relevance for your users and the items that they are seeing, especially if your catalog spans a large variety of genres. Last but not least, we have the final step, which is to build out your ads. This is the easiest part. First, you would select the template that you would like your creative to be displayed in. You can toggle between 5 available templates to see which one fits your brand and imagery the best. You can also create 5 ads, each with a different template, and have our system optimized towards the best performing template for you. Next, you would select the template fields that will be displayed on the ad. These fields are pulled directly from your catalog for each product. Fields such as title and price or any custom combination can be used to present the right messaging on the ad. At this time, we can accept any 2 fields from your catalog and you can really vary your messaging there. And then you launch. We have a variety of tools to manage your campaigns, check reporting, understand how the top products are performing, and make quick optimizations directly in the tool. The best part is that your ads are constantly updating based on the refresh window that you've set as your Feedonomics feed is refreshed. So you never have to worry about launching new ads. We'll do all of this work for you. All of these instructions can be found on our Business Help Center to get up and running. Otherwise, we're more than happy to help address any additional questions that you may have. To wrap this up, I wanted to highlight some examples of results that we have helped some of our partners achieve. Overall, we've proven on Snapchat that we can deliver a $3 ROAS, which is 20% higher than digital norms. Some advertisers we see come in much higher than that as well, depending on the types of products and campaigns that they're running. With this, I wanted to highlight 2 successful advertisers in Snapchat that have seamlessly incorporated dynamic ads into their performance marketing strategy. First, we have Princess Polly, which is a women's fashion and jewelry brand that has been using standard Snap ads prior to testing dynamic ads. Princess Polly was able to drive a 66% decrease in cost per purchase and a 171% increase in return on ad spend by incorporating dynamic ads into their US campaign. They really found that the personalization of the ad with promotional messaging helped to drive performance on Snapchat. Next, we have e.l.f. Cosmetics, which is a brand that saw a huge success on the platform as well by tapping into Snapchat's millennial and Gen Z audience to efficiently gain share of voice. They were able to incorporate Snap ads and dynamic ads to further optimize and personalize their ads for their customers. With this, they were able to drive a 20% increase in site visitation compared to the quarter prior and a 39% increase in CPM efficiency compared to the quarter prior. This is a great example of 3 of our core tenets for performance marketing. We have a fast-growing, highly engaged, and intent-driven audience. We offer a scalable and efficient platform for performance-focused advertisers. And finally, we now have dynamic ads, which are live and driving fantastic results for our advertisers as well. With that, I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time to learn about dynamic ads. We're so excited for you to test and allow our new format to help you drive efficient results for your business. And with that, I'm going to pass it back to Brian.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Leah, for explaining literally the why, what, how of of Snapchat dynamic ads. We're often asked because we're in that consultative position with clients where they ask, I'm experiencing good results on other social retargeting channels like Facebook DPA or Google remarketing. They're often asked, like, what should I be doing next? And so based on, obviously this isn't the first time I've seen I've seen these slides, but based on the work we've done with Snap already, it's a pretty compelling channel. And I'll be talking not just on the what, how, and why of it, but mostly on the product feed component of it to try to ensure success. And then afterwards, we'll go into the Q&A session. So with that, I'll try to keep it relatively brief. I told you guys a little bit about Feedonomics. We really focus on full service with product data, making sure that your product data can really shine on any channel you send it to. And of course, we're going to be focusing on Snap today. So with that, a little bit about some of the clients that we help. We work with online retailers, brands, and agencies to help them drive better performance in all of their different channels. About us, we're actually a very global company in 80 different countries because we have to be able to provide that 24/7 support. Whenever you have disapprovals or errors or suspensions or want to get new products live on a new channel, we want to do it very quickly to avoid any kind of disruption possible. We currently work with over 2,000 total clients for one of the fastest growing companies in the US, and we're about 5 years old now, having started in 2015. So with that, how does Feedonomics actually interplay with Snap? Leah kind of touched upon it already. We can basically produce an optimized feed specifically for Snap that you can just easily copy paste into the Snapchat ads interface to get live. And that's obviously one of the key steps because these dynamic ads are going off of your product data. But what do you actually need to do to succeed on that front? So obviously you need to first get that product data, right? So we facilitate getting it wherever it may be. You may be on one of these common platforms on the left, Shopify, Oracle, Salesforce Commerce Cloud, BigCommerce, Magento. There are literally dozens of these that we have API connections already to. So we can effortlessly take that data and plug it into Feedonomics from where we actually do the optimization. And then of course, the destination will be Snapchat that we'll be able to get your product data to. One interesting note that I just wanted to quickly cover, even when you have a custom e-commerce cart that's not one of these that's listed here, we actually have the ability to dynamically crawl your product landing pages and create a feed literally just from your website, which is a pretty cool one, just in case you can't get any kind of dynamic product data out in the present. So we haven't run into a single client where we weren't able to generate a feed for their marketing channels for, I guess, is the takeaway here. And you've probably heard me mention a couple of times already, we do feed optimization. I'm just going to quickly cover what does that actually mean? What does it entail? What do we actually do? So I'll give you guys a good example. On the right, you'll see a Nike pair of shoes. And you'll see Nike has actually included their brand name in their product title, which is not that common. A lot of brands and retailers, they're going to have their logo, whether it's the swoosh or whatever it is, on their landing pages, and they're often not going to even have their brand there. Now, that's great to have a nice, modern, sleek-looking title, right? Like you'll see Nike doesn't have inside of their title the word shoe. They don't have basketball shoe. They don't have the word running shoe. They don't even have the color or size in there, right? But when you're retargeting people on Snapchat or really any channel that, maybe it might be Google, right? You want to structure your product data in a way that's very similar to how users are searching for it, or how they might recall it, right, when they see that ad later, depending on the look back window. So what we do is we try to ensure that all the right words and attributes are in the right places, that there isn't some crazy looking HTML in your title or other product data, and that we've correctly mapped it to all of the required fields and sometimes the optional fields for Snapchat's feed specs. You guys saw that there are many different ways of structuring and doing your bidding, doing your different ad sets. You might want to leverage custom labels to do some interesting custom things where you insert certain words in certain places for the ads. So we can help facilitate that as well. But at a high level, we're really trying to make it so users will easily be able to recall the products that they saw on your website inside of the ad itself. So in this example here, what we've done is we've actually added quite a few words to help users with that recall process, added the color, the size, added the product noun, which is a pretty important one because they may or may not remember what Nike Air Max 2017 actually was. So these are all things that will help you succeed ultimately on the performance side. And oftentimes these are things that you can actually A/B test as well. So these are great things like, is it better to put Nike at the beginning or the end of a product title? Is it better to have a product noun at all? These are all things that are great to A/B test and actually prove out and can often result in pretty big performance lifts. Like it might sound like, does it really matter if Nike's at the beginning or the end? But it's often very surprising when you can literally get a 20% performance lift by just putting the one word in the right place. It's always amazing to see. So that said, how do we actually ensure that a feed is optimized? We've created quite a few tools to facilitate that on our end. One is FeedGrader, where we're able to pretty much instantly audit the quality of any feed that we work with for over 60 common metrics that we see time and time again as issues with product data, whether it's HTML that's just sitting somewhere in a field, or potentially a title that might be missing very important attributes like brand, product noun, color, or size, categories that might be incorrect, duplicate titles, duplicate IDs, things that might cause issues, not just with your product data performing, but kind of what Leah was showing earlier, where you might actually have a mismatch between your pixel and your actual product catalog. So you want to make sure that you don't have duplicate IDs, you don't have issues like that, just as a base measure. But obviously, you want to make sure that your feed is optimized too. And this is a really nice tool that we've created. And I might be a little biased because I'm the one who created this 3 years ago, but it's a really great way to immediately spot any kind of mistakes that you might have and see missed opportunities to perform better. Another very interesting feature that we have is data governance. Despite it having a political sounding name, I promise you it has nothing to do with politics. We really built this as a way to ensure that everything is going smoothly after you set up your feed. Now, we obviously don't espouse a set it and forget it approach. If someone told you they have a set it and forget it approach for campaigns, like you'd probably laugh at them, right? Like they set their bids up once and never look at them again. That's crazy, right? But when it comes to product data, we often find that people do have a set it and forget it approach where they set it up once, but if you're a fast fashion retailer or brand, you're constantly adding new products. So it's almost unrealistic to expect that you can have that kind of an approach for product data. And that said, what happens as your product data is changing? Like you might have new products that are added that might not be optimized. Their category might be empty. They might be missing a product noun from their titles. So we created a whole product called data governance that gives you alerts whenever anything goes wrong or when any kind of custom condition is met. So some examples are when products aren't categorized or they're missing a critical attribute. Or you can say if your price field is missing a dollar sign, right? Things that might embody problems that probably are deeper than just a an attribute that's missing, things that might literally get your account suspended or result in links that are malformed, right? So wasted ad spend. You might want to add a check to make sure all of my links have the HTTPS in front of them, right? So these are things that we've, to be honest, learned by fire. We've learned that if not set up correctly, or if not, if you don't have this feature at all, over time it may or may not happen. But if that 1% chance becomes a reality, that could literally be a loss of thousands of dollars a day in revenue. So it's really important to be watching for these kinds of issues, and that's why we created data governance. One other really cool thing that is critical to performance bidding and everything in terms of how you do your ad sets is categorization. Now, categorization is important for many different reasons. Uh, of course, there is a taxonomy that you use and supplied as the Google _product_ category field inside of your Snapchat feed. And what we've done is we've actually created the ability to automatically categorize products. Now, this is a game changer because approximately 50% of all the work that we spend optimizing feeds comes down to categorization. And as someone who has done it firsthand, it takes a very long time and is mind-numbing and annoying, and it's not that much fun. It oftentimes, if depending on how many products you sell, if you only sell shoes, fine, that's usually just a couple of categories, right? But we find that oftentimes brands aren't just selling one, they might be selling dozens or even hundreds, each of which needs its own distinct category. And the question is, well, why is this so important, right? So we've solved it with machine learning so that you don't have to do it manually. But why does good categorization matter at all? And it comes down to bidding at the end of the day. Oftentimes we find that brands, retailers are setting up their bidding rules based on brand and maybe also on category. Like you might want to set up different bids for shirts versus shorts, right? I'll give you guys a funny example because we literally saw this exact case where you have a title that's called the short sleeve shirt, right? So like as a human and you see the picture, like it's obvious what it is. It's a shirt, right? But of course it has the word short in it. So if you were to create a business rule, like saying if the title contains the word short or shorts, put it into the shorts category, you might have different bids for your shirts versus your shorts. And this happens quite often. Another funny example is you might have a title like zebra striped pants. And because the word zebra has the word bra in it, you might accidentally categorize that into the bra category, right? Instead of the pants category. So these are interesting things that come up time to time, and you might actually have products that have poor performance, but it's a result of categorization, which is really interesting. So it's important to get this right. And when you have incorrect, categorization, it might be also pulled into a catch-all bucket. Like sometimes what we find is that retailers will have a really detailed categorization, like all the way into clothing, fashion and accessories, and then into tops and then t-shirts. But then sometimes they just leave it into clothing. And realistically, you might have very different bids that you might want to set up for all your different items of clothing than just for one. So it's really important to get right, and we've solved it with AI, which is pretty cool. So that said, those are a bunch of the different ways that we can help get a really well-structured but also critically optimized feed over to Snap, where we don't take a set it and forget it approach, but we're constantly improving that product data. And how does the integration work? So it's pretty simple. There's 4 steps here, but you literally log on to our support portal. You say, I want to add a new export to Snap. We set it up for you, give you a URL, you plug it into the Snap Ads interface, and you're done. It's literally that simple in terms of the product feed. Obviously, there are some other great steps that you need to ensure you're doing, as Leah mentioned earlier. But on the feed side, it's really not that complicated. We're here to help you if you have any questions through any of it at all. And then you guys saw, like, once you're actually able to do that, you're able to set up your ad campaigns. I'm not going to go into the same level of detail that Lee already went into, but that part of the process is relatively simple as well, and straightforward. And it's going to enable you to set up many different types of ads in Snap. So I want to kind of summarize before we dive into some of the questions that we received. What is the actual value proposition for Feedonomics and Snap? I kind of mentioned this earlier, but from my perspective, it's a totally unsaturated and an untapped market, right? You guys saw that there's a good amount of users that are not also logging into to Facebook, to Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. That is unique. So it's a market that you're not going to get if you're using other channels. By the same token, it seems like there is definitely a certain brand affinity and category affinity for users, specifically in fashion apparel, and of course other ones where if your target demographic is the millennial audience, like that's a no-brainer, right? You have to be where your audience is. And then along the same lines of the saturated argument where there are lower ad costs in a market that is not saturated, it's pretty intuitive. So that's kind of what we're seeing across all of our clients who are doing it. And then lastly, before we dive into the Q&A, I want to give you guys some guidance on, because I'm seeing some of the questions already, how do we get started? So in order to get started, if you want to get onto Snapchat, just fill out this form below, and don't worry if you aren't going to be able to type in that link. We'll be sending you guys all the info on how to get started afterwards, including the link, including the recording, including the deck too, if possible. And if you're already an existing Snapchat advertiser, but you're not doing dynamic ads, just reach out to your Snap account team and they'll help you get started. So with that, I'm actually going to jump into the Q&A. So I'm just going to pull it up here real quick and we'll dive into some of the questions. So let's see, here's a good one. Does it cost extra to add Snap as an export? Good question. No, it doesn't at all. So it's included in your Feedonomics subscription, where you have basically unlimited export channels for all social and pay-per-click feeds. Let's see what the next one is here. So Leah, I think this is one for you. I'm currently running dynamic ads on Facebook. Why should I consider running dynamic ads on Snapchat as well? And how are they different?
Yeah, that's a great question. So when thinking about advertising on Snapchat and how it can be effective, it really comes down to our audience. And I know I went a lot into our audience kind of in the deck and went through all of those great details on how we have this unique and unduplicated audience. But also it's important to mention how engaged and incredibly influential they are over buying power at this point. So as you kind of utilize Snapchat and access their unduplicated and incremental reach to your advertising efforts, please keep in mind that in a given week, 30% of US Snapchatters and 33% of US Snapchatters cannot be reached on Instagram and Facebook respectively. So our audience is really kind of that main driving factor for success on the platform. Also, as you may notice, that we have a lot of similarities, but also a lot of differences between how our dynamic ad tools work compared to other platforms. And we are really building out this product with our advertisers front and center. We want to ensure that you can easily use feeds from Feedonomics seamlessly across all platforms you work with and incorporate our dynamic ad tools post catalog sync to really hone in on increasing relevance with your user base and driving those lower funnel actions. One thing I also wanted to call out is just the value of our creative. We really use the same standard of quality and rigor that we put forth into developing all of our engaging ad formats into creating our dynamic ads format as well. And with dynamic ads, you can easily leverage those pre-existing templates that I showed. We have 5 templates available right now to really showcase products visually, make them look entirely native to the platform. And because our audience is so mobile friendly, predisposed to shop on mobile, we wanted to make sure that we were designing that optimal mobile shopping experience for them. So our ads are full screen, completely mobile optimized. We maximize the real estate of those images that are displayed. And those 5 templates can actually take assets of any shape or size and format it into that mobile friendly experience and invite those shoppers to swipe up, learn more, make purchases online, make purchases in app, and really kind of drive your business forward. So we're constantly developing new features for this product and ensuring that we're taking your feedback into account in order to really evolve it over time and really help you to achieve your business goals.
Awesome. Thanks, Leah. I'll take this next one mostly because I think it's pretty funny. I thought only my kids use Snapchat. Are we going to get a good ROAS, return on ad spend, on this channel? So that's a great one. So I think one of the slides that actually really resonated with me was when Leah was talking about how 75% of that millennial population, 13 to 34 age group, had that pocket share of about $1 trillion, right? And then I saw that, over the next decade, it's going to be going up to over 7 trillion, right? That's a pretty big jump. Of course, that means I'm going to be very wealthy very soon. But uh, more seriously, what we're seeing is that we definitely think the channel is worth the investment. You guys saw some of the case studies that Leah presented as well. We're seeing the same thing as well with our clients, where it's not a crowded and saturated social media channel now. It probably will be a decade from now. So I think the time is pretty ripe to take advantage of that. So yeah, it's not that it's only for kids, but I think it's a pretty compelling channel to try. Let's see if we can do a few more, time permitting. Here's another one for Leah. How do I enable my account for dynamic ads today so I can test this product?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the first step to getting access to dynamic ads is to install the Snap Pixel and ensure that you're passing back some of those relevant events that I mentioned. So this time we ask you to pass back page view, view content, add cart, and purchase. And we also ask that you send back item ID within those events so that we better understand what users are viewing on site. As soon as you have that pixel placed and you're kind of passing us that information, we will automatically enable your account for dynamic ads, so that you can go ahead, you can get your Feedonomics catalog uploaded and synced, and then utilize those tools that we've built out to QA setup and ensure that everything is good to go. We also have a full list of step-by-step instructions for syncing your Feedonomics catalog, setting up your pixel, running your dynamic ads campaign on our business help center that we can follow up with more information for. And then as always, we are always here to help if you have any questions on just the overall workflow for getting up and running.
Awesome, thanks, Leah. Here's another question I think that I will be able to answer, and Leah, feel free to chime in if there's anything else. So we already do Facebook dynamic product ads or Facebook DPA. Will there be any heavy lifting to add Snap? From my perspective, and I'm going to try to answer this as someone who has actually done it already. I always love to get my hands dirty in every new channel we add and see what is the actual work entailed, so I get to see it from our customers' perspective too. So there shouldn't be that much work at all. I think the only thing that will take the longest time, and even that's not that bad, is going to be the pixel. And if you're already doing Facebook DPA, the pixel setup is remarkably similar. It's going to involve exactly the same steps where you have to place that pixel and the JavaScript tracking code on your actual pages and where you want those events to fire off. So in a way, if you're already on Facebook, it's actually great because that means that you can literally leverage the exact same event that fire off. You can place the pixel in the exact same place before or after, wherever you have that Facebook one. So that part of it should be remarkably simple. And then, of course, you guys saw all the rest of the steps that need to happen, from the feed aspect to it, to adding that URL, to setting up your ads. And the interface, from my perspective, is in a way, it's actually awesome that Snap has done this really recently, more recently than 10 years ago, because the UI is really sleek and easy to do. And from my perspective, when I was doing it versus having to set something up like Amazon. So I think you'll find that as well. Leah,
Yeah.
hopefully I answered that. I don't know if you had any more.
Yeah, that was great. And just to add on to that, we definitely have designed a lot of our tools with other key platforms in mind to ensure that there's not a ton of additional work or any additional work that you need to do in order to enable your feed to be used on Snapchat, pulled from other platforms as well. So we've really designed our schema and kind of the requirements for our catalogs with those other platforms in mind so that there was minimal work on your end. I hope you'll find it very easy in order to get up and running. We have our Ads Manager tool, which walks you kind of through every single step. And again, all of our Business Help Center and collateral that will provide additional information throughout the process.
Awesome. Yep, makes sense. And here's one for Leah. So I'm an app advertiser, and I don't have a full web presence. This is actually an interesting one. I'm curious about this one too. Can I still use dynamic ads to promote items from my mobile app?
Yes, I love this question. And yes, the answer is yes. At this time, we have a solution for both web and app advertisers to seamlessly promote items from your catalog. In fact, app advertisers have seen really great success on the platform in terms of driving installs and deep linking into their app for purchase. For app advertisers specifically, we require that you work with a mobile measurement partner. And we currently have partnerships with Adjust, AppsFlyer, Kochava, Singular, Branch, and Tension, and are configuring event tracking and item ID passback, same kind of configuration that we would require within the Pixel, so that we can appropriately retarget users that have landed on specific items within your app as well. So with dynamic ads for app, you can either prospect net new users to download your app, or you can show them relevant items or products that they can purchase if they have your app already or after downloading. So there's two different scenarios that you can really utilize there in order to find net new installers or even deep link into your app to make that purchase. If you're an advertiser with an app and a web presence, we highly recommend using the Snap Pixel and your mobile measurement partner to really hone in on users that have viewed your products either on site or in app. This will allow for a more comprehensive approach to understanding what users are looking for and where, and then also driving them to an experience, whether it be in app or on web, that is going to be the most seamless for them. In terms of app advertisers, there are only a couple of requirements that we ask for in the catalog, and that is just app IDs and app icons so that we can generate a picture of your app, and we can share all of those requirements with you. But again, it is a super easy setup, very similar to how you would set up your web campaign, and we can do a ton of cross-device retargeting there as well.
Very cool. That's awesome, and that wasn't a question I thought I had until I even saw it. So great question too. So I think that's it for time. What we'll do is any other questions that we didn't get to, we'll definitely follow up personally over email and get you guys the responses to those. But thanks so much for joining us for this Feedonomics and Snapchat webinar. We hope you learned quite a bit on this awesome new channel. And we'll be following up with the slides, the recording of this whole webinar, and any other questions and answers that you might have. Feel free to email us. We'll definitely be happy to help you there. Thanks so much, guys, and thanks so much for joining me, Leah.